Hello, we are going to discuss on inventory management in QuickBooks. Now, first of all, we are going to discuss on the theory aspects. Then later on in the video, we will create example and an illustration so that we can better understand what inventory management is all about. Now, first of all, the major items you have to deal with, the major options you have in inventory management is between vendor center and customer center. In fact, inventory management has to do with you tracking your inventory, knowing how much those inventory worth, knowing from which vendor you make your order from, that is your supplier, knowing the various costs from these various vendors. In fact, QuickBooks inventory management goes beyond just knowing the quantity of goods you have at hand. It extends to knowing how much you should value your stock, your inventory, what inventory you've made order for, and how many have you received. That is those orders you made from your supplier. Then which order were given to you by your customer, and how many of these orders have you supplied. You understand? Then sometimes you have this order, this order from your customer, which is this sales order. Then sometimes you need to, since you don't have this inventory, you need to make an order from your supplier by making a purchase order against that sales order. So majorly, inventory management has to do with the time you are buying, or let's say if you make purchase order, the time you are making purchase order, or you are buying this inventory up to the time you are selling it. Now, this feature only work with inventory part item, and we are going to discuss on that later in the video. So, a summary of what inventory management is all about is trying to follow up or track the goods you purchase, as the inventory item you purchase from your supplier, up till when you receive it to your store. How many do you have in store? After you must have sell, how many did you sell, and at how much did you sell this stock? The ones you have, how much do you buy them? What is their value? If you buy them at a different price, though QuickBooks Pro makes use of QuickBooks Pro and Premier makes use of average costing. Depend on which way you want to value your inventory. If it is average costing, if it is weighted average, if it is FIFO, LIFO, all these options. For FIFO, LIFO, it only works on Enterprise Platinum edition. You understand? But if you are making use of Pro, if you are making use of Premier, even Enterprise, so most like Enterprise solution, you have to bring in, if you want to make use of FIFO, LIFO, you have to do that outside QuickBooks. Then after you are done, you come back to impute the valuation that you've gotten. If you are not satisfied with average costing method, which QuickBooks Pro and Premier make use of. Now, after you've known this value of the inventory you have, by selling them, are you selling them at an average cost or at that FIFO, LIFO? Down to is part of inventory management. Then when you say how many quantity do you have left then how many quantity did you sell, how many did you order for. Now at the end of the day, you will see that inventory management in QuickBooks has to do with tracking this purchase you made from the very beginning up till when you sell these items. So very quickly, we are going to go into the next topic of discussion, which is following the inventory money trail. Now, following the inventory money trail simply means how these goods, how the QuickBooks account for these goods you purchase up till when you sell them. Now quickly, before I go into this, except you are making use of just in time feature in QuickBooks, you don't need this inventory management kind of, because you are not keeping any inventory parts. That is to say, you are only ordering from your your supplier. You are only buying from your supplier when your customer is in need. So it's a just in time. You buy and sell directly. So you're not tracking any of this inventory of yours. You're just, so in that case, I would suggest that you make use of non-inventory parts. And this non-inventory part item, they are those kind of items that you don't track. So for the purpose of this class, we are going to actually deal with inventory parts item. So let's have that at the back of our mind, that it is inventory item that we are going to be discussing here thereafter. So following the inventory money trail. Now, first of all, you are actually buying. This right check feature here, if you click on it, you are actually buying from somebody. Let's say you are buying with cash, you are not buying on credit. You go with right check. Now, once the right check is up, now I click on right check on the home page and it takes me to this window. This is the right check window. If you click on this drop down, this arrow down, you will see option from the bank account that you want to make these payments from. So I only have one. Now bank account in QuickBooks consists of both your real bank or petty cash or any other form of savings for your business. It doesn't have to be bank alone, though QuickBooks will identify it as right check or bank or similar things like that, but the major thing there is they are all bank. So it can either be cash, it can either be your real bank and the rest. So whichever way you are bringing money out or saving money in your business. So you select on this petty cash. Now when you come to pay to the order of, now before you can have this petty cash, mind you must have created this account in the chart of accounts. Now if you've not created, you can add new here to create a new one. You understand? So this petty cash, I created that already. That's why you can see it on the drop down list as bank. Okay, then if you want to create that, let's go back home. I click on home. Though I have it here as chart of account, but I want to direct us to where we can. So you can see chart of account here. If I click on chart of account, I want to create that petty cash. Let's say we don't have petty cash because we are paying. We are not paying from nowhere, but we are paying from your bank. So first of all, you can right click anywhere in this environment and click on new. When you click on new, you wait for it to come up. Now once it is up, you see an option for bank. You select that bank. You can see petty cash, checking, sales, money, market. So when you click on continue, You wait for it to come up. Then once it is up, you will see the account type. You see the account type at the top as bank. Should in case you made mistake in the previous window, you can select that here and correct the mistake by selecting the correct account type, which is bank. Then the account name here, you will now put whichever bank you are using. If it is First Bank, Zenith Bank, if it is UBA, if it is Diamond, you insert that here. Then if it is petty cash, you insert that also. You can also go for bank, maybe your cash draw and all those things you have in your cash till in the office, instead of taking that is cash at cash in hand. You understand? So that one, you can also use this bank account type. Then you can describe, give a description if you want. Then entering an opening balance. You can actually enter an opening balance, but there's a better way. There's a better way than entering an opening balance here. There's a better way to enter opening balance in QuickBooks than entering when you are creating the account. So when you save and close, it will save. So I just want to show you how I created that petty cash that you see here at the top as a bank. So now let's go back to, you can see my open windows. How did I bring this about? If you click on list view, you see open window list. So I click on that to bring this up. Now if you see, your own environment might be different from mine because the icon bar, I place them at the top, so they are at the top here. So from this now, how did I bring it to the top? Click on view, you can see top icon bar. If I want it to be at the left side here, I click on left icon bar. If I want to hide it, I'll hide it. So I just needed to have enough space. That is why I took it up, and then my open window list is open. So let's go back to open window list. Here will show us all the windows that are open. So instead of exiting each window from this little X here, I'll rather move between the windows here. So writing that check, I click on right check, it will take us to the right check window. So what I'm doing now, I'm explaining the inventory money trade, following this money trade. So I'm buying this thing now, cash and carry. I'm not buying to pay later, I'm buying cash and carry. I'll have to write a check, I'll have to pay. So that's the reason why I click on write check in the home page. So this is the account I created, the bank account. The balance is 29,000 and the date of the transaction is 23rd of March. Now you are paying in the order of. Now paying in the order of here is trying to tell you which company are you buying this stuff, this item from. So I have vendor. We have to select vendor. So I'm selecting Salifu company as the vendor. If I click on Salifu company, this information that came up here were what I actually inserted when creating Salifu company. Now again, if you go back home, if you are confused on how I created Salifu company, if you don't, you can add new here. You can add new, or let's go back home and go to, let me show you how I created Salifu company. I click back home. Now you wait for it to come up. Then this is the vendor center. You rather click on this vendor here, or click on this vendor here at the icon bar, or go to vendor and click on vendor center, whichever way to take you to one vendor center where I can create a vendor that I'm buying from. So I click on vendor and wait for it to come up. Now why am I doing all these things? I'm doing these things to show us what inventory management is all about. It has to do with from your supplier down to your customer. So we cannot sell if you don't have a customer, and we cannot even sell if we do not buy from your suppliers. We have to buy before selling. Now I will click. You see this is the vendor information center. This is the vendor center we have now. So I'll click on this new vendor you see here. Click on the new vendor. You see new vendor here. Click on that new vendor and wait for it to new vendor window to come up. This is the new vendor window. So I'm going to insert a name here. So I inserted Salifu Company here. Then I did not put any opening balance. I told you there are better ways to enter opening balance in QuickBooks. So don't make use of this opening balance at all, because this is an account payable. Vendor originally is your account payable, while customer is your account receivable. So whenever you are buying a credit from your vendor, you are actually creating an account payable account. You understand? So instead of using, if I insert a figure here, it will come up in my opening equity, and you don't want that to be there. You understand? Equity account, it will come up as an opening balance equity account, and which is very, very wrong. So the better way you make use of QuickBooks has a better way to enter opening balance. We'll discuss that as we proceed. So you leave that blank, but you can insert the name here, vendor name. Now any name you insert here is for your own consumption. You can use a code, you can use whichever name, you can easily identify this person. But the major thing that is that if you come back home, if you go to vendor center, I will show you where this name will reflect. Now let me click on the vendor center. You know I have an open window, so I can easily move within these windows. So you can see this Salifu Company you are seeing here is what I inserted in that first name. So that is what that will appear in your own QuickBooks. But if you are creating a bill, that is, you are creating a bill because you want to make a purchase, you want to buy an item or incur an expenses, that name will not appear there. This is the vendor name I'm telling you about. This one will only appear in your own QuickBooks, but the one you insert here in this information are what we are going to make use of. That these are the things that will appear in this bill you are writing, or writing of check, or whichever way you are communicating with your vendor, any other correspondence. Now company name, you can still insert that same Yaya Company or Salifu Company, you understand? Then the first name. Now this is a contact name, so you might have a contact in that company, you understand? So now we are not doing all this creating of vendor and the rest. We are doing inventory management, but I want to show us how I went about creating those vendor that we are working with. For example, Salifu Company. So you can insert that same Salifu Company here. But if you have a unique name you can recognize this vendor with, you use that name here. Then use the legalized name here. Is not bad, because this one will only reflect in QuickBooks, while these other ones we have will reflect in the bill or any other correspondence you are writing to your vendor. So if you have a contact, if you have somebody you are dealing with directly in that company, you put Mr. or Mrs., first name, middle name, and last name. You understand? Should, in case the name is last name before first name in that particular company you are dealing with, you can also put last name here and first name. It will still come up. The job title, that person you are having contact with in that company, what is his title? You understand? Is it the director? Is it the accountant? Is it the sales rep? Anyone you can put here. Then that person's phone number, that particular person's phone number is what you have here. Then the email address. If you click down on this you see there are other options. If this is phone number, you are okay with it. If this is work number, you're okay with it. If you want to change this mobile, you can change to alternate phone, or you change to another option. Let's see, Facebook. You change to that. Now once you are done, once you input the name here, the first name and the last name and the company name, it will reflect in the address detail. This is where you are building from. This is where you are. This is the address you are built from. Then you can copy this address down to the ship from. So if you are built from this address and you are also getting this item from that same address. Sometimes your supplier might have a different branch. So if they have a different branch, it might bill you from branch A, then you might ship from branch B, whichever way you have. You click on that. Now payment setting, you input that. Account number can be any form of identification your supplier has for you. Maybe they create account number for each. Account number doesn't really mean your bank account number. Maybe they have like an account name, account number to identify if each customer uniquely. So that is your supplier. So that is that. We are not dealing with creating of vendor here. I just want to show us how I created that Salifo company. So that is that. So I can click on home. Okay, right check again. So we are still with inventory management. So writing check now. Now I'll click on Salifo company. Okay. Now what am I buying from? This is inventory, so we are not really going to deal with expense. We are clicking on it. Has two. You can have the two. You can make the two expense together. Both expense, expense and item. But in this case, we are only dealing with item. So now we click down here. You see we have bicycle inventory parts. Now you can add new here. You understand? You can add new here, or just as I've been doing before. Let me go back to show us how I created that item. And go back home. Okay, and go back home. You wait for it to come up. Then you will see from this item and services, you either click here, or you come down to list, item, list. You click on this item list. So whichever one, they will take you to the item list window. So now we are in the item list window. Originally you might not have anything here, so you can right click anywhere and add new. So I'm adding new now. Okay, wait for it to come up also. Now the first thing QuickBooks will show you is the service item. So but here we are dealing with inventory management, and before you can go about working with inventory management, you must create an inventory part item, which is the second option. So here we are going to deal with inventory part item. If it is non-inventory part item, there is no need of managing it. The only thing is you are going to generate a report here to show you the vendor you are buying from, the inventory valuation and the rest, then item listing and other things, the purchase you've made. So this one you're not tracking those items. But now I'll click on inventory part. So I want to tell you how I created that bicycle. So in the item field here, number, you input the name of that particular goods you are buying and selling. You understand that you want to track. You can see here it's a use for goods you purchase, track as inventory and resell, which is very, very good. Sub item of that one is another option. So but let's just go with the basic. Manufacturer's part number. If that particular item you are buying from your supplier, if it has a unique part number, so that this supplier will have an easy identification, they can easily get what you want on time. So you can input the part number here if it has. Unit of measurement, that is a topic for another day. So but let's go with let's stay on focus. Now purchase information, the description of this particular item you want to create. So let's say old bicycle, maybe second-hand bicycle, maybe you can think of anything, any way to describe that item. Now the cost here is the amount you are buying that item from your supplier. This is the account. People will select this account for you. Even though you don't have any cost of goods sold account, it will create one once you've selected inventory part item. If you have a preferred vendor that you buy from, you can indicate here. If you don't have, you can leave, it's okay. Now in the sales information, anything you input here in the transaction, it will appear here. But if you think your supplier has a unique way of understanding different from your customer, we are going to put a different description here. Now the sales price, then the income account, this particular sales price will affect, just like this cost here is affecting the cost of goods sold. this income will also affect an income account. So let's click on that to select an income account, which is sales. We have sales. We are dealing with buying and selling. So an income account is already there. So in case you don't have any account here, just as I have told you that you want to select, you add new, or you go back to that chart of account and create and select the type of account you want to select, just and do that as I did the other time, as I was explaining for how to create that petty cash the first time. So that is that. Same thing applies to this cost of goods sold. If you're not satisfied, you can also go there and create or add new here, and it will go ahead. Okay, now add the inventory information. Automatically QuickBooks will select an inventory asset account for you, which is other current asset. It will select that. Now this information is very, very important, because once you are buying, now this purchase information you are seeing here, this box for purchase information, these are what will appear whenever you are buying from your supplier. Why this says here is whatever that will appear whenever you are selling to your customer. You understand? Now asset account, this is the account it will affect. Definitely when you, because it's an inventory part, you definitely need an asset account. This one now will affect your balance sheet, your financial position. Reorder point minimum. This is when you have, you input a figure and tell QuickBooks that this thing I want it to be 20. So whenever I'm selling and I input the quantity and that quantity is getting below, that is to say the quantity I have on hand is not getting below 20, or it hits 20 or below, QuickBooks will remind me that I have to reorder. Now this maximum you see here, it only appears in enterprise. So maximum here means once you want to now make that order, maximum you are telling QuickBooks that okay, I want to order up to 50. It means whenever I'm placing an order now, since you've reminded me, and actually you can still go ahead and sell. Even QuickBooks remind you that how you've hit the minimum point, you can still go ahead and sell, but the function here is carried out already. It's informed you. Now maximum, now we say now okay, you want to now buy, QuickBooks will tell that you only need 30 to meet this maximum, because you have 20 already, you only need 30. So that is that. If you have any on hand, you click on that. If you don't have, you leave it, and so that is what I did in creating that. So I cancel here in creating that bicycle you see here. So let me go back to writing check. So I've done a lot of explanation dealing with the vendor, the bank account, and the item. So when you click on the item here, I click on it, and it will bring up the information. You can see this description was what I inserted while creating that item. Okay, let me double click it for you to see what and what. Double click on this to take you to the edit item. You can see what I did. So these are the things you can see. They are not different from what we actually have when I was showing us how to create. So okay, go back to write check. So now I'm buying this, the description, what is the quantity? Let me say I want to buy like 15 each. Now you might be seeing this unit of measurement because I enabled it. So but let's just leave that for now. Let's just go ahead with 15 each. The cost for this 15 each, let's say, is 50 naira. Now if you are confused on the price, you can go to report here. Let me, so that I can just follow the audit trail. Let me go to reports and check my purchase. You understand? So purchase by vendor summary. Let me click on that. I'm actually supposed to click on detail so that it will show me the detail, the quantity and the rate, but still I can double click on that figure to give me the detail. So let me know how much I've been buying before. You can see I actually bought at 3,000. So that value is so small. So let me go back here, write check and use around 3,000. So I'm buying, so 3,000, but let's say 3,500. okay, 3,500. So you can see now we have 3,500. When you click on the amount button, it will automatically calculate itself. Then it will bring up an item cost change window telling you that your current price is 0 because I had not input any price at all. Then the new cost is 3,500. This new one I inserted, and do I want to change it? I can say no. You understand? They will not penalize you for that. So you can now save and close. So now we are buying at 52,500. Oh, well, now we are having 29,000. Actually, QuickBooks can allow you to now I uncheck this print letter. You can see to print. I don't want to print it. Let's say I have already here. I have a check with me, so I can input the number. Let's say 001. You understand? But if I want to print, click on that print and to only print. So we have, let's say let me just buy below, so that I'll just have a balance. Though we can have a negative balance and it will still go ahead, but I don't like that figure there. So let's just leave it at 500. Let's assume the price has changed to 500. So click on that again. You have 7,500. So at least 7,500. They will still bring up this option for you. 7,500 is okay. From 29, I can still have a balance. Then you save and close. So once you save and close, you've recorded that transaction. Now your reports have to refresh because you have a new record that you've made. See, now we have my purchase by vendor. You have I purchased for at 3,000. I'm purchasing 15 at 500. Now this thing will show you how average costing is done in QuickBooks. But for now, we'll come to that later. Let's go back to the report. Now we've actually made a purchase. Now go to your company and financial, go to profit and loss standard to see what happened. It might not really affect anything here because you're not actually selling. It is when you are selling that the selling price will come here and the associated cost of goods sold will appear here, but you are not selling. So now I want to explain that money trade for you. Now what QuickBooks does when you actually purchase using money, it actually credits it reduces your account, your cash account, or whichever account you are making use of to purchase this item, then increase your inventory asset account. You can see it has nothing to do with profit and loss. This is the money trail I'm telling you about. So that's the first one, purchasing. Though it will take a lot of time, but it's worth it. So let's go to report again and go to financial and go to balance sheet. If you click on balance sheet, it will bring out a report for balance sheet. Here now you can see the effect. You can see now we have 21,500. You can click on that to see the work, or you can click on detail. If you click on that, it will open the detail for you, detail transaction for you. Now transaction by, now you can see that we have 7,500 inventory assets. We bought from, you can see check means we pay for this particular item. We bought from Salifu company. Now if you want to see the item you purchased, let's say we want to customize the report to see item, so I can search item here. I want to see the item. Okay, let me scroll down one after the other. I want to see the item is selected already. Why is it not? Okay, I was trying to bring out an item to see what we actually purchased. Now, if it's not coming up, I can double click on let's check total account by item detail. Can come down here, total account by item list, item, detail. Let me click on item detail. Okay, now let's just go ahead. I can double click on this inventory assets to see what transaction transpire. But if you actually want to see the things you bought, I see it take me back to this initial transaction. Let's exit that from here. Now if you actually want to see what you bought, you can go to this that report we created the other time, purchased by vendor detail. We give you the name of the items. You see second-hand bicycle. The item itself is bicycle, that's the item name. The description is second-hand, which is still reflecting here, 15 and 500 each. So that is that for this first part of the class. We are going to the next part of the class to discuss the remaining aspect of inventory management. Bye.